Okay guys, so now we are moving on to phase 2. You can see that we've primed our surface, which I did mention was already a pre-primed surface, but we'll give it another one anyway, just to show you guys an example of how that works at home. So you want to leave it for approximately 20 minutes. Obviously that is going to vary dependent on the surface that you are going onto, sometimes shorter, sometimes longer. And it is now time to start mixing up our Ultra Fibre Self Leveler. Okay, so we've got 3.4 litres of cold water in this bucket here, cold fresh water. Nice and clean, and we've got a 20 kg bag which I'm going to open now. So we're just going to rip this bag open. Sometimes they can be a little bit on the awkward side, but as long as you don't make a load of mess before you start pouring it into your bucket, you should be absolutely fine. So it's going to stand up, start pouring it in. As I said, 3.4 litres of cold fresh water in this bucket. So you can mix it up using a normal bucket or a bucket similar to this. It doesn't really matter, just as long as you can pour the contents in and mix it up. See, now, as this is poured in, this bucket is going to be full of polymers, and basically what that is just lumps of the material inside the bucket. So that is why we're going to make sure we give it a nice, long 2-minute mix. Not too fast, not too slow. Okay, so we're not completely done with this mix yet, but here's a little tip for you guys at home who are watching. Ideally, you're going to want a smaller trowel for this, but always give the inside of the bucket a nice little scrape. So as I said before, you make sure you get all those polymers out and it's one nice, smooth, consistent mix. And you're just going to carry on with that mix, as I said, for 2 minutes. Okay, so that has now had a nice long mix. Not 100% sure whether it exactly was 2 minutes. It was hard for me to count, but I'm telling you that you need to make sure you mix that product for a nice, smooth, consistent mix of 2 minutes minimum. Okay, now, so we have our primed surface. We've got our self-leveling adhesive knocked up. I'm going to now pour the contents in here. You can see that it's not exactly a flat surface. This little tiny offcut of laminate, which we've used in the example, is about 3 millimeters deep. So now I'm just going to grab the bucket and just slowly pour it on. So I'm going to leave that like that. Set it aside, and you can see how well that self-leveling is working already. I'm just going to encourage it to move around a little bit more with a trowel, just the flat edge of a trowel. Slowly moving it around, and you can see how that's working really, really nicely already. This product can range in depths of up to 3 millimeters to 75 millimeters. So if you're going over underfloor heating or something like that, this will be a great product to use, because sometimes, you know, you need to get up to about 50 millimeters. Obviously, the deeper that you go, the longer it's going to take to dry. But what we recommend is 3 hours. After it's been on the floor for 3 hours, you can then walk on a surface, but before you start tiling or putting any sort of flooring down, you want to make sure you leave it for at least 8 hours. A good practice in the game, which me and my team do, is we leave it on the floor, completely left overnight. We'll come back the next morning and we are all ready to go. So look at this. It's reaching every corner, doing exactly what it says on the tin. Now I'm going to leave that. My job is now done. Phase 2 is now over. We're going to let it do its own job, and then we're going to come back for phase 3.